Hello and welcome to the dungeon. I'm your host Rob. In today's video we're going to be looking at the other subclass from the Dungeon Master's Guide, the Oath Breaker Paladin. These are supposed to be evil paladins that are all about doing evil. Personally, I don't actually mind the idea though of letting a player play one, even if they didn't want to be evil, although it specifically says they have to be evil, so whatever. But I don't mind the idea of a redemption arc of somebody who, they started their character, they supposedly wanted to be in this other path, but for whatever reason they broke their sacred oaths, and now they just want to find like redemption and stuff, but they want to also play an Oathbreaker. I'm cool with that kind of stuff, but I get other people aren't. And it does specifically say a paladin must be evil and at least 3rd level to become an Oathbreaker. So if you don't want to allow good people to be Oathbreakers, I get it, but everybody goes back on their word now and then. Come on. Let's not hold them to an unrealistic standard here. Actually, it's probably fine to hold them to that standard, but whatever. Anyways, let's proceed with the Oathbreaker spell list. At level 3, we're going to get Hellish Rebuke and Inflict Wounds. I actually kind of like both these spells, although I will say Inflict Wounds I don't think is as good on a paladin. It's great on a cleric because you're a full spellcaster and you can scale it up nicely. On a paladin, you might just be better off smiting with that spell slot, to be honest. So I think your mileage may vary on that one. Hellish Rebuke though does give you a nice reaction, which a lot of times paladins don't really have, and it's a ranged option as well. So I don't think that one's terrible. Level 5, we get Crown of Madness and Darkness. Crown of Madness I'm not the biggest fan of. Darkness would be great if we had something like Devil's Sight to go with it, but as it is, your success with that spell may vary. Level 9 though, we get Animate Dead and Bestow Curse. Animate Dead is a great spell and is even better on this character due to some of the synergies we will talk about in a moment. So Animate Dead I'm very happy with. And Bestow Curse can be pretty nice too if you want to like team up with an ally and maybe try to land like a big control type spell. And Bestow Curse can help set that up and help them land that spell easier. Level 13 we get Blight and Confusion. Blight is an okay spell, but again, as I have caster, getting it at 13th level, I'm probably not going to have a lot of use for it myself personally. Confusion though, I actually like Confusion quite a bit. There is, still a chance that the stuff could act normally and attack my party members, but it's something like about a 70 or 80% chance overall that the stuff will either do nothing or help us. So those are pretty good odds. Especially if you can get 2 or 3 creatures in the area of effect, then it starts to really pay some dividends. Level 17, Contagion and Dominate Person. Again, both pretty nice spells, but you're getting them at 17th level, so bear that in mind. If your campaign, if it gets that high though, then good news for you. So, Channel Divinity. An Oathbreaker Paladin of 3rd level or higher gets the following 2 Channel Divinity options. And personally, I kind of like both these options. I feel like they're both superior to, like, say, a Turn Undead type ability, right? The first one is Control Undead. As an action, the Paladin targets one undead creature he or she can see within 30 feet of him or her. The target must make a Wisdom saving throw. On a failed save, the target must obey the Paladin's commands for the next 24 hours, or until the Paladin uses this Channel Divinity option again. An undead whose challenge rating is equal to or greater than the Paladin's level is immune to this effect. So basically you have to pick something that's weaker than you by at least 1 CR. But it's only the 1 saving throw it gets, and if it fails, you have it for 24 hours. I mean, granted, after that time it could turn on you and your party members, but it's also a lower level CR than you, so, I'm assuming you can handle it. I think overall, though, this can have some really nice value. It can help bolster your combat. It can be used as a scout with my favorite trick of sending it down the hallway to check for pit traps or poison dart traps or giant falling boulder traps or spear traps or any other type of traps that dungeons tend to have a lot. So, send your free undead creature that you just got. Let it do the scouting. I like that a lot better than, say, risking the rogue who might, unfortunately meet with a untimely end. The other Channel Divinity option, though, is probably even better. It is called Dreadful Aspect. As an action, the paladin channels the darkest emotions and focuses them into a burst of magical menace, which is a lot of dark emotions, honestly. Each creature of the paladin's choice within 30 feet of the paladin must make a wisdom saving throw if it can see the paladin. On a failed save, the target is frightened of the paladin for 1 minute. If a creature frightened by this effect ends its turn more than 30 feet away from the paladin, it can attempt another wisdom saving throw to end the effect on it. One thing that's worth noting here is that this effect does not break on damage the way that most fear effects do. This is pretty nice, honestly. It's also, every creature within 30 feet that you choose, meaning that you've got a nice, area of effect control spell, something that, again, paladins are usually kind of weak in. So I actually think this is a really, really solid ability. You should be able to get at least something if you've got multiple enemies within 30 feet of you. Wisdom saving throws, depending on the creature, they might be good, but a lot of creatures have bad wisdom saving throws, so that's not too bad either. It's not like it's targeting Constitution or something, Now, they will try to move away from you, which means that they might just get beyond the 30 feet and then get another saving throw. But even that's not so bad. If they have to spend their turn moving away and then another turn trying to move back or even dashing or whatever, the main thing you're trying to do is get control of the situation and reduce the number of things attacking you and dealing damage to you and the party members. So I actually like that ability quite a bit, especially for a 3rd level ability. To be able to fear just anything you choose within 30 feet of you is pretty excellent. And it doesn't break on damage, like I said. So anyways, Aura of Hate. Starting at 7th level, the Paladin, as well as any fiends and undead within 10 feet of the Paladin, gains a bonus to melee weapon damage rolls equal to the Paladin's Charisma modifier, minimum of +1. A creature can benefit from this feature from only one Paladin at a time. At 18th level, the range increases to 30 feet. So, since I did a terrible job of reading that, let's just go over it really quickly. Any fiends and undead within 10 feet of you get bonus damage to their weapon roll, melee weapon rolls. It has to be melee weapons. It's not ranged weapons or spells or anything else. But melee weapon damage rolls equal to the Paladin's Charisma modifier. So if you had 16 Charisma, that's +3 to all their damage, right? 20 Charisma +5 to all their damage. That's all fiends and undead. Working very nicely with the Animate Dead spell, of course. A creature can benefit from this and feature only one paladin at a time. It's fine, stops you from having 4 evil paladins in the same group. The only thing to really be aware of, though, is it doesn't say anything about these creatures needing to be on your side or under your control or anything else. In other words, if your party is fighting a bunch of fiends and undead, they will get those bonuses much to your own detriment. So be aware of that. You got your 20 charisma and you got your 1 zombie that you've animated, and then you end up fighting a bunch of demons, and turns out those demons are all getting bonuses to all their attacks. That could be pretty rough. Especially if you're fighting, say, a Marolith, and she's got 6 arms, using 6 weapons at the same time. Brutal. Anyways, still a pretty good ability. I like the idea of combining it with, say, a Necromancer in the party for even more hijinks. That could be really fun. At 15th level, you get Supernatural Resistance. The Paladin gains resistance to bludgeoning, piercing, and slashing damage from non-magical weapons. This is pretty high to be getting this ability. 15th level, it's it's not exactly an early ability, and it's only from non-magical attacks. Now, that probably is better than it sounds, because if you look at the monster manual, or even like Mordenkainen's or anything else like that, there are a surprising number of high-level monsters whose attacks do not count as magical attacks. There are a lot, though, who do. So, mileage may vary depending on your campaign. But it's not a bad ability. Resistance to all the major sources of physical damage is pretty good. Like I said, non-magical only, but, not a terrible ability anyways. And finally, at level 20, we get Dreadlord. At 20th level, the Paladin can, as an action, surround him or herself with an aura of gloom that lasts for 1 minute. The aura reduces any bright light in a 30-foot radius around the paladin to dim light. Whatever. Whenever an enemy that is frightened by the paladin starts his turn in the aura, it takes 4d10 psychic damage. It's about an average of 22-ish damage per round. And don't forget, you could use your channel divinity to frighten them, right? Additionally, the paladin and creatures he or she chooses in the aura are draped in deeper shadow. Creatures that rely on sight have disadvantage on attack rolls against creatures draped in this shadow. So you can give everything attacking you and your allies disadvantage. Except for maybe if one of your allies makes you mad, then you just don't include that guy. While the aura lasts, the paladin can use a bonus action on his or her turn to cause the shadows in the aura to attack one creature. The paladin makes a melee spell attack against the target. If the attack hits, the creature takes necrotic damage equal to 3d10 plus the paladin's charisma modifier. After activating the aura, the paladin can't do so again until he or she finishes a long rest. Again, you might not have a lot of bonus actions depending on how you built your character. Paladins, like some of them have a few built in, but generally it's not like a really common thing. You don't, like a rogue where you have cunning action available all the time, for example, right? So being able to just deal more damage, of course, is great. The fact that the thing I like about this ability is it really does multiple things. You've got the psychic damage of anything that's frightened from you. You've got the disadvantage that you can impose on enemy attack rolls. And of course, then you've got the fact that as a bonus action, you can have the darkness lash out and hit something and deal damage. It's a pretty great ability, to be honest, but bear in mind, it is a level 20 ability. So unless your campaign goes to 20, you're not going to be getting it. It's far more likely that you'll fight the DM's evil paladin they made using this, and he will have it instead. And then you'll see how good it is. Sorry about your news. I do think, though, that it is pretty good overall. I like the fact that it does multiple things, and they're all pretty useful, like more damage, more defense, and more damage. Pretty good. I do think that there's some interesting potential for multi-classing, but we're not going to get into it too much in this video because I'm going to save that for a future video. We'll just make a video dedicated to a paladin or Oathbreaker Paladin multi-class. If you do multi-class, though, you're obviously not going to get that level 20 ability, which is pretty great. So bear that in mind. But like I said, most campaigns don't get there anyway. And I do think that you do have some pretty decent abilities in this subclass. The only thing is that a lot of them tend to be like your level 7 aura, which you're probably going to want a lot. You might want the animate dead spell, which you don't get till 9th level. And that does give you a lot of paladin levels if you're looking to multi-class. So you'd probably have paladin as your core class and then maybe add something in on the side, right? Which would be how I'd probably do it. I'd probably go to paladin level 11, there we go. Get that extra damage on all my melee attacks, or weapon attacks in general actually, but probably melee attacks, since I have a 10-foot aura around me and everything nearby me, all my undead get bonus damage. I'm probably going to be on the front lines, right? Either way, though, I think it's an interesting character class. Like I said, I don't mind the idea of somebody being a non-evil one in a campaign if I was the Dungeon Master. I think that'd be fine. I do think that it'd be hilarious when they fight a bunch of like fiends or undead, and then the Paladin's aura is buffing all the enemies. That could be a good time. Just a delightful thought, actually. Anyways, but yeah, that's the Oathbreaker Paladin. I think it's pretty solid. I think that they make great villains. I've had one big one in a campaign, which I talked about in the White Spar campaign, when Crag had the big duel with his father, Crag the Barbarian. His dad, as I mentioned, was an Oathbreaker Paladin. And he was quite the beast. Unfortunately, he was no match for Crag, who was just the absolute god of warfare, it turned out. So Crag was a killing machine, and even his father couldn't stand against him. But that wasn't a slight on the Oathbreaker Paladin, because he was pretty good too. Anyways, that's everything for this video. Thanks for watching. Feel free to like, subscribe, ring the bell for notifications, and most importantly, leave me your comments in the comment section. I would love to hear your experiences with Oathbreaker Paladins, and also just, other Paladins in general. other videos you might be interested in. Possible multi-classes with Oathbreaker. I think that can be fun too. But anyways, that's everything, and thank you for watching. Bye.